shall we play a game?
We got Star Wars Unlimited. We got classic Star Wars games. We got old school D&D, independent RPGs, mini painting, Warhammer, of course, tons of other games. But first, we're gonna need some coffee here on Board Barista Productions. Hey everybody, it's your Board Barista Fen, and this is Wars Wednesday. And just want to give everybody a reminder, I am giving away one of these fancy dancy Sabine and Hati playmats once we hit 500 subscribers. So if you're not already subscribed, remember, subscribe, like, share, all those things. Let YouTube know we're doing a good job and help the channel grow. And we'll be doing a giveaway for a Board Barista Wolf and Wren playmat in the future once we hit our 500 subscriber goal. That being said, to get into the episode, we tonight are talking about the new hotness, the Jumptolightspeed spoilers. I've waited a while until we got to see a good number of cards for me to actually dive in and talk about like what this set is going to be about. So without further ado, let's dive into the spoilers. First up, we got Asajj Ventress, the new Vigilance villainy leader for this set. Her deploy is on 6 resources, and she has the new pilot ability. So once you get to 6 resources, you get to flip her, but on the path to 6 resources, she has the action of exhaust her. Deal 1 damage to a friendly unit. If you do, deal 1 damage to an enemy unit in the same arena. So you get to ping your ships or ground units to be able to ping their ships or ground units. So it's kind of a little ping. It's not in Carabas colors, so having damage on your stuff. But if you got a lot of grit in your deck, Asajj looks good for that. Be able to turn on your grit, get your opponent. If you got some overwhelm in there, being able to chip away and get some chip on your opponent's things and then chip in with some more overwhelm, really great. Or if they got some really small units, you can just ping them around off the board. She straight up murks TIE fighters, no problem. We'll talk about TIE fighters in a moment. But yeah, epic action. Once you get to 6 resources, you can flip her, and she flips into... Let's scroll this stuff down just a little bit, so we can see a little bit more. She flips into either a 4/6 leader unit or a +3/+4 pilot upgrade. So, with the she has grit herself. The attached unit becomes your leader. It gains grit, and on attack, you may deal 1 damage. It gives her a ping of 1 damage to a friendly unit, 1 damage to an enemy unit in the same arena. It's really just grit.deck, I think. Decent. Probably going to see a good amount of play in the limited format. And I think Grit's got some wheels. I think there might actually be grit.deck being the thing to happen in the future. Next up, we got Commander Wedge Antilles reported Rogue Squadron, sir. Yeah, Wedge. I'm excited to see Wedge. He's got the action of exhaust him, play a card from your hand using piloting. It costs 1 less, so you can't play it as a character unit. You got to play it as a pilot. So he definitely does want to make your other pilots cheaper. He flips on 5 resources. So when you got 5 resources, you flip him over. He becomes either a 3/6 unit that's still your leader, or he becomes a 3/4 pilot upgrade. Pilot upgrade is the new mechanic for this thing. Either you get a character on the ground, or they hop in their ship and make their ship better. The attached unit is a leader and gains on attack. The next pilot card you play phase costs 1 less. This includes the piloting cost. So, yeah, just being able to make your guys cheaper on attack is nice. Definitely wants you to play into this whole thing of drop your dudes, you don't want with Wedge, you don't want to leave anybody outside of a cockpit. So, and it's not just ships you can put them on; they can put them on vehicles as well. Limit one pilot per vehicle, but there's some cards that break that. And next we have Boba Fett. Everybody who's been salty that Boba Fett can't be your leader because the set 1 Boba Fett is banned. Well, guess what? If you were playing Boba Red, you can still play Boba Red, and this is your new Boba Fett. He has the when you deal non-combat damage, that means anytime you're dealing damage outside of combat, either with the new indirect capability or you're dealing just straight up kind of a card steals do X number of damage. Whenever you deal non-combat damage, that means it's not damage from things attacking each other. You may exhaust the leader. If you do, deal 1 indirect damage to a player. Indirect damage, that mechanic is basically you have 1 indirect damage. You can put it wherever you want. I feel like indirect damage is going to be a bit of with TIE Phantom in the mix and shields in the mix. I feel like indirect damage. It's assigns 1 unpreventable damage to their base unit, so you cannot prevent it with a shield. It gets through the shield, and you can't deal with the TIE Phantom because the TIE Phantom can't be damaged. I take it back. I just read that little piece of reminder text right there on him. Made me completely change my mind. Indirect damage, nice. I like that. That whole fact of you have to take this. It's not coming from a source. That's good. Now, when Boba flips, he flips over into a 4/7 unit. But he really shines when you play him for his piloting cost and put him on a vehicle. He becomes a 4/4 pilot upgrade. When deployed as an upgrade, deal up to 4 damage to as you choose among any number of units. Basically, that can be your own units if you want to trigger an on-death ability or put on some grit damage, or it can be straight up onto your opponent's stuff to just kill something, get it out of the way. I think this Boba Fett is a lot more balanced as a leader than Yellow Boba Fett was, and I think he's in the bracket of colors where he needs to be. Boba needs to be a villain. I know Boba Fett tried to make him a hero, but seriously, he was trying to be a crime boss. Boba Fett is always villainy. I think this is cool, showing Fett in the fire spray, being that pilot that's just like chef's kiss. Because when he shows up, something's gonna get blown up. Our next leader is Admiral Akbar. Is a trap. Akbar. Wait, I didn't say what Boba flips on. Boba flips on 6. So he is pretty powerful for a leader, but he is also balanced because he doesn't flip too soon. Going back to Akbar. Akbar also flips on 6. He has an action of 1, pay 1 resource and exhaust him to exhaust a non-leader unit, which is good if you want to play tempo, but this is more about like a go wide strategy because you tap him and the controller of the thing that you tap down makes an X-Wing token. And then when you get 6 resources, you get to flip him over, and he just does that on attack. He's not a pilot himself, even though he was an admiral running Home 1. He does not get to pilot Home 1 or anything else. But on attack, you can exhaust a unit. If you do, its controller creates an X-Wing token. You really, it's balanced because it's go wide. You're going to end up basically, I think once you make the first X-Wing token, then you make the second X-Wing token, then when you get to the point where you have 2 X-Wing tokens to attack with, and then you can exhaust him, 1 to attack with, and 1, once you get to 3, it's like where Akbar really starts to shine. It's like, okay, I got the advantage. I'm just going to take a turn off of attacking with this thing to be able to get another one. And you're going to build up this really nice go wide advantage in space. Granted, we do have things like bombing run, and you're probably, if it's exhausted, they're probably you're not dealing damage to their base, and a lot of aggro decks. Granted, he does synergize with his set 1 green version, where basically you choose an arena and you deal X damage to a unit equal to the number of total units in that arena. So you do end up basically kind of being like, all right, Akbar's made me a bunch of X-Wings. I'll drop this thing out, and, you know, we'll clear off that problem in space, and next turn we're going to send the X-Wings in to blow everything up. But, and he is a 3/8. He is going to stick around for a while. But, I don't know. I want to almost say, like, Akbar good in... If limited is a slow environment, if it's not as fast as Twilight of the Republic has been, then I think Akbar could have some legs. We just need some more control-y type stuff for this kind of like slow down, dirtle for a while, go wide strategy. Next up, the best Corellian smuggler there ever was, Han Solo. Everyone else is a budget version of him. That's right, I said that, Dash. You're just a Dash Rendar. You are just a poor man's Han Solo. Han's ability, reveal the top card of your deck, then attack with the unit. If the revealed card and that unit have different odd costs, that unit gets +1/+0 for the attack. They really, really like making Han be like these cool, gimmicky, fun, flavor-filled decks, because you're basically not going to want to play... You can't even with this Han. Like, every card in your deck has to be odd for Han to be good, which means you're probably not going to want to play him in limited. You definitely want to play him in a constructed format. A lot of build around. But that whole build around thing does come with a cheaper deploy cost. His deploy cost is 5. So once you get 5 resources, you can epic action to flip him over into be either a 3/7 ground unit, or you get to deploy him as a pilot upgrade. And the attached unit is a leader. And it was when it's deployed as an upgrade, each friendly unit or upgrade that has an odd for each friendly unit that has or upgrade that has an odd cost, ready a resource. So if you can't even with Han, if everything's odd, then basically you flip Han on your 5 resources and basically untap all your other resources, and you basically play out your hand, flip Han, and then play out the rest of your hand. It's so cute, but you can't play any even casting cost units in the thing. And you know, he's +3/+4 to the Millennium. He basically doubles the Millennium Falcon. Turns the Falcon and Falcon is an odd card, so it's a 3-drop. So you can be like, well, kid, we're gonna flip the Falcon, put me on the Falcon, and Falcon's basically going to bash in as a 6/8 and be very, very hard to remove off the table. So yeah, I'm excited about Han. I just know I'm not gonna be able to play him in limited. Next up, we got Chewbacca. So this is not a leader, doesn't flip. Just a regular unit that can either be played for a ground unit or a space unit. Really cool ability, 5 cost. He's a 5/6, and he can't be defeated or returned to hand by enemy card abilities. So you can't waylay him. You can't power the dark side, Chewie. You can't. Nothing. You can't do nothing to Chewie for that type of stuff. You have to like kill Chewie in combat. He basically has the TIE Phantom ability, as you know, except for like damaged. He can be damaged and die. If he takes damage, he'll die. But he can't be straight up removal or bounced. And his piloting cost is 3 resources, and the attached vehicle that he's on gains that ability. It can't be defeated or bounced back to a hand. So, and then it gets +3/+3 instead of giving a 5/6, you get +3/+3, and he costs like 2 less. Like, even on like the idea of like, okay, you play Falcon. On like 5 resources, you play Falcon, you flip Han, you automatically get to put down Chewie. You're playing a couple extra cards on that turn too. that turn as well. And yeah, you're having fun. You're swinging for the fences. And that Falcon. I mean, if you can get Han, Chewie, and the original Falcon on the field, it is a 9-11. Wait, that's a bad number. We'll move on. General Draven, one of the guys from Rogue One. He is a Rebel official, 5-drop, so you can play him in that Han deck. He is a 2/5, 2 power, 5 defense. When played on attack, you create an X-wing token, so he'd go great with Akbar to be able to give you some more X-wings, so you can have some ones to tap down to make another X-wing. Yeah, definitely a cool card for the go wide strategy. Tandem Assault, just a generic command card, only costs 1. This is our cool like pay 1 get to attack with 2 things card for this set. So attack with a space unit, of course. All of these cool 1-drop get to attack with 2 things. Always have like some sort of requirement, but you get to attack with a space unit. If you do attack, you attack. You can then attack with a ground unit, and the ground unit gets +2/+0 for the attack. So instead of it being like Rebel Assault, where you get to attack with 2 things, and each get +1/+1, +1/+0, just the ground thing gets +2/+0. Dece, in a very heavily space-oriented set where we have lots of ways to make token spaceships, and to make sure we both are playing in both the ground and the space arena, playing some very balanced stuff. I can see this being a go-to in limited, just to be like always take this when you're playing limited. Next up is Allegiant General Pride, 2-drop for a aggression villainy 2/3 unit. First Order and official are his keywords. And when you deal indirect damage when indirect damage is dealt to a unit, so when your opponent chooses to take the indirect damage on a unit instead of their base, you may defeat a non-unique upgrade on it. So you can't get rid of the pilots because the pilots all seem to be unique. Because we haven't seen like a generic pilot yet that just can be slapped on anybody. You can just bloop, get rid of that. This is where I feel like we have so much like straight up upgrade removal in set 1 and set 2. We got Confiscate, 1-drop. It's colorless, it's non-faction line, so it's generic, so it can go in any deck, and pay 1 completely murk a leader upgrade, and you can't ever play the leader ever again. We have Disabling Fangfighter in red, so you can straight up just play Disabling Fangfighter and their ship goes, their pilot, their leader goes away. And we also have Ketsu Ono in set 2, where she attacks into a base and deals damage. Then you can defeat an upgrade. We got a lot of upgrade removal, so I'm feeling like pilot leaders, especially against red decks, are gonna have a hard time. But I think they've balanced it enough in limited to make it so I think the pilots are gonna do good in limited. And the last ability that Pride's got here is on attack. If you have the initiative, you get to deal 2 indirect damage to a player. Again, they have to choose where it's going to go, and it can't be prevented. So, nice that it has a built-in indirect ping, as well as the whole when indirect happens ability. So you don't need to have 2 cards. Synergize it. Its abilities are a nice synergistic way to get the ability on the table without too many hoops, because if you make somebody too complex, it never gets played. Next up, we got no disintegrations. I think this card is cool. I'm happy that they made it villainy, because if it wasn't villainy, I would be playing this in just about like every single Anakin Skywalker deck. I would run 3. Any deck that I've got like overwhelm abilities, I think this is going to be a great card to fuel Maul. because you're basically just going to be like pay 3, keep something with 1 damage left on it, and then attack with an overwhelm thing. Um, Especially if it's something that's got like a nice good key ability on it, where it's like I need to be able to do something with like this is like my synergistic piece unit, and I don't want to just throw it away. You'll just be able to attack into it the next thing, or you'll force them to be like, I gotta throw it into something, or else you're gonna attack the overwhelm, and I'm gonna eat a lot of damage to the face. I think No Disintegrations is a very nice card. Even with like cards where you just basically get to ping as well, just to clear it up. Um, that's oh, this card is good. Even or if you're playing grit, if you've got a grit unit, you know your opponent's not going to be able to attack into it. You can just leave it on 1 HP and have a suicide attacker that's just going in with tons of damage because it's got like, let's say it's like a 2/5 with grit. You're going to attack for 7. If it's got overwhelm as well, then it's going to be nuts. But I can see No Disintegrations being I can see this being a staple in Constructed and a meta card. Hunting Aggressor. It is 4-drop, straight aggression unit, 3 power, 6 defense, and boost indirect damage dealt to your opponent is increased by 1. So just a nice little enabler for the indirect damage. The fact that it's got, it's got 6 toughness means it's not going to be eaten too fast. You'll be able to get your indirect damage triggers going off, pumping them up a little bit. So not too bad. Not a good synergistic card. Zagarian Starhopper. This is a 2-drop cunning villainy underworld vehicle fighter. It's a space unit. It's a 2/3. When defeated, deal 2 indirect damage to a player. Basically, they assign the unpreventable damage to either a unit or a base or a combination. Not too bad. Not too bad. If it dies, then they're going to take some damage somewhere else. Really puts your opponent into the whole thing of like, where do I put this damage? Some ways to put your opponent into the tank is nice. Bosk, 4-drop, 4/4 with the ability of on attack, exhaust the defender, deal 1 damage to it if it's a unit. Again, cunning villainy, underworld bounty hunter pilot. His piloting deploy cost is for 3 resources, also with cunning and villainy, and the attached unit gains on attack, exhaust the defender, and deal 1 damage to it. I like the deal 1 damage to it, the exhaust, as well as the exhaust, because then you're able to, getting that ping as well as the exhaust is good. Sometimes if they only got, say, hit it with no disintegrations, then you can attack with whatever Bosk is piloting. It will automatically just kill it, and you won't take any damage. That little dirty Sabine, the 2-drop Sabine ability of being like, ping it, get rid of the shield, then I'll deal damage to it, or ping it and it just goes away and I don't have to worry about it, or ping it and I can trade up. That's a good ability to have. And tapping it down if it survives is also pretty good for some key, like, if I attack, I get to do this kind of thing. Yeah. And so if you pay the 2 and just play him as a pilot, he's just going to become a +2/+2 upgrade that also gives that on attack, exhaust the defender, and deal 1 damage to it. Solid. I'll call it decent. Anakin Skywalker, cunning heroism, 2-drop for a 2/3 force fringe pilot. Piloting is 2 resources, and again, the regular cunning and heroism. And when attached unit completes an attack, you may return this upgrade to its owner's hand. Now, the wonderful thing is that Wedge makes this cost 1 less. And upgrades don't come into play tapped, or don't tap the ship when they come into it. They just come into it. So you can theoretically, like, turn 3, you play you use Wedge to play Anakin. You put Anakin onto a ship. You attack with the ship. And then if you've got another ship, you can bounce Anakin back to your hand, pay 2, put Anakin onto another ship and attack. He's given +2/+3. A lot of the one drop ships that my cunning aggro deck plays, they're all like one drop 2/3. So I'm doubling the stat pool on some of those things. Yeah, and you're just basically kind of like drop it down, bounce it back to my hand. Okay, pay 2, put it over here, attack with the. This is annoying and good, and I'm like, is it what? It's an uncommon. It's an uncommon. I'm gonna have fun drafting this. Like if I see Wedge, I want to take every Anakin I see in like every cheap ship, just so I can be like, boop, 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 Anakin. It's just gonna be like jumping from little boy Anakin is jump from ship to ship to ship to ship, attacking all the way. And then he's back in my hand, so they don't even know like where I'm going to put him next. Probably on the most defensive ship, and then I'm just going to repeat the chain all over again. Still, not something for limited, not something for constructed, because they're going to have ways to answer the upgrade and kill the ship and all the cool stuff. All right, Blade Squadron B Wing. So it's a 3-drop. We finally got. I think this is the first B Wing. I don't think we've seen a B Wing yet. Maybe we have, but we got B Wings, and B Wings are my favorite ship and my favorite fighter in Star Wars is the B Wing. So it's a 3-drop, 3/3. Dece on rate ship space unit. When played, if another player controls 3 or more exhausted units, give a shield token to a unit. So if they've put out a bunch of tokens or they've done a lot of attacks, then you can basically be like, shield on this one. It's a good when you're behind card. And I think because we're probably going to go a little wide in this format with the tokens, because we got ways to make token ships, I think it might be good and limited. It might be good if we do see a bunch of coordinate decks coming into the format in constructed. If we do see constructed kind of slow down, then I think B-Wing, Blade Squadron B-Wing becomes a contender. I think it's just good 3-drop for limited right now. Never Tell Me the Odds. I love the fact that this card is a gimmicky card, because in the Star Wars CCG, it was what they called an insert card, where you put it into your opponent's deck and then you count up the destiny values of like your 3 highest destiny values of your characters, vehicles, droids, and everything, like cards you had on the table. Then your opponent counted it up, and they had to lose card. They had to mill cards from their deck equal to the difference in the number, and there was this numbers deck that was completely abusive. So it stacks up. It is a mill card, and it does deal damage, and it is based off of the numbers of printed numbers on cards. It hits all the flavor for the Star Wars CCG. Discard 3 cards from your opponent's deck, discard 3 cards from your deck, deal damage to a unit equal to the number of cards with odd cost discarded this way. You're playing this in, you can't even Han. So you're at least doing 3, maybe 4 damage to a unit, and you're milling them 3 cards, and we got another card to go into the mill deck, and I'm just kind of like, okay, this is kind of cute. The problem is, though, that Vigilance and Satine, I think, are both even cards. So it doesn't get to be like pure power level of like, I'm going to mill you completely out. But it does hit the flavor of it. And I think Actually, I want to look this up real quick. Never tell me the odds. Star Wars CCG. All right. It is like almost the exact same art. 3PO is more in the middle, but it is like basically the same art. And it has this, its casting cost is same to the, there are people at FFG that play Star Wars CCG. Oh, that is so cute. That is so cute. Yeah, it's seriously, it's that same thing except they just moved C3PO over to the middle of the two of them. That is amazing. Oh, loving it. All right, what's our next? It's a trap. So if an opponent controls more space units than you, ready each space unit you control. I feel, and for 3, and I feel like as long as you have like, if your opponent, like, say you built Super Falcon, okay, you got Han, Chewie, and the new Falcon, not the old Falcon. You're building Super Falcon because I know when I was, probably somebody's like, you can't put 2 pilots on the original Falcon. Super Falcon is the Falcon in this set where it breaks the rule. If you got Super Falcon, and Super Falcon has 9 power and 11 defense, and then you play It's a Trap, you attack with Super Falcon. They're like, okay, I got 2 things, and you're like, it's a trap, and you would get to untap and attack with Super Falcon again. That's 18 points you just did in one turn to your opponent. Chances are Super Falcon's and you probably like hit them with the early Falcon a couple of times. And even if they've got like 3 space units and you've got Super Falcon and you got something else, you're still like It's a Trap can definitely like do you some good, and I'm happy about it. Even though it's kind of like we'll back up to it. Even though like with Akbar, you're trying to go wide, like having this whole built up, really indestructible Falcon, or another built up really good unit to be like, it's a trap, untap, bash, GG. I think It's a Trap is definitely going to be played a lot, and I like that it's rare, so I can get plenty of copies when I open my case. I would hate to be like trying to hunt down this, because if this was legendary, this would be another like $30 legendary, because it's just going to be that good of a gambit, because it doesn't have the drawback of like you have to destroy your unit or you lose at the end of the game or all this stuff. No, it's a trap. Okay, we've all out attacked. You tried to break down the Super Falcon. It's a trap. Bash you. You don't have a thing to be able to blow it up fast enough. I'm just like, attack with Super Falcon. Deal 9. It's a trap. Deal another 9. Are you still alive? Okay, I'll hit you with something else. And again, that's gonna be turn 4, and you've probably been bashing in with like a bunch of other stuff. So they're probably gone by now. All right, Death Space Skirmisher, 3-drop, Cunning card, Underworld Vehicle Fighter, Space Unit. When played, if you control another Space Unit and you may exhaust a unit, that's how you stop Super Falcon. You just tap it down and don't let them do it. Attack with it with only do that first 9 damage. You're only going to take 9 because it's a trap it. But still, that is good because you're just like, you're 2-drop, I would play this in my Cunning Sabine deck that's got like a bunch of 1-drop and 2-drops space units. So I'm just like, all right, turn 1, went wide in space. Turn 3, all right, play this, exhaust your thing. You're not going to get to attack with me, and bash you in the face. I like it. I like it a lot for constructed and limited. Always good to have the tempo. All right, Vet's Vet Fire Spray has got a new copy. I will always refer to this as its official Legends name. It's Slave 1. Just understand it's Slave 1. It will always be Slave 1 to me. It not because of like anything to do with like the real world. That's just its name in a galaxy far, far away, where that practice still happens because Anakin was owned by the Hutts, but and Watto. But it's a galaxy full of bad people, and Jedi need to rise up to defeat the bad people. We need bad people. We need black and white, good versus evil, in our fantasy. So, yeah, bounty hunter ship has got an evil bounty hunter name. Anyways, that's Fire Spray. It's a 4-drop 4/4, not as powerful as the Set 1 Fire Spray, but it does have if you've got Boba Fett as a unit upgrade or leader, then it does do a cool thing. When played and on attack, it deals 1 indirect damage to a player. If you got Boba on the table in any way, shape, or form, then it will deal 2 indirect damage instead. So basically, play this, flip that, play this, deal 2, flip Boba, put it on the Fire Spray, deal 4 more. It's then deal 2 more. It's a lot of indirect damage to your opponent's got to figure out where the heck it's going to go. I think it's a lot more balanced in the Set 1 Fire Spray. But, it's decent. It's cool. It's nice to be able to have 2 Fire Sprays on the table and be able to do some crazy shenanigans with them. But we have to acknowledge the Wookiee in the room, Super Falcon. May deploy 1 additional pilot on this unit. This unit gets +1/+0 for each pilot. Oh, it's an 11-13. The Super Falcon is an 11-13 when you got Han and Chewie piloting it. Okay, the stats are jacked. Okay, and then it's a trap it. It's 22. They're playing a 25 HP base. A 25 HP base. You know what happened. You know what their life total is. It's 3. All you had to do was get in 1 hit with regular Falcon. Dead. Oh. You just need something some way to give this thing Saboteur and then your chef's kiss. Super Falcon. I think Space Sentinels are going to be, even though the Space Sentinel that done that way, there's nothing in the game that's got that kind of crazy stats. An 11-13? Yeah, that home one you just played is going by. And the chances are that thing can get bounced because you're playing Waylades in the deck. Because, seriously, you play Chewie onto the Super Falcon, and you flip Han, and then you play a Waylade to bounce whatever's Sentinel they got in the way, and then you just hit him with the Super Falcon, and then it's a trap. Or you hit the thing that they're trying to stop you with, and with a Super Falcon, then it's a trap and hit their base. Super Falcon. Glad that it is only in the starter deck. Oh, that's the sad thing. It's in the starter deck. You can't get, which is funny because in the Star Wars CCG, you can only get the Super Falcon in a sealed product. Couldn't get it. Can't get it in limit. Can't get it out of packs. Can't play it in limited. Oh, but Super Falcon. This is going to be nice. And in a weekly play promo, with that weekly play promo foiling. Although don't get me started on the whole thing of the collector's packs they're having. I am not a fan of those. The only way I will ever open any of those is if I end up accidentally getting gifted some of those, because I'm not a fan. And I'll talk about that more later on when we start looking at prices for cards, because honestly, I feel the collector's booster boxes for Star Wars Unlimited were too early in the game for that kind of shenanigans, because people need to have the packs they open, get them the cards they need, and they need the packs that they open to hold value. And that's a topic for next week. I'm scared for the game because I think we're going into a very risky area. And we'll talk about that next week. I just want to get through the reviews. Glad I'm ending it on a positive note with the Super Falcon. This is the card I'm most excited about. I do want to play Cunning Command Heroism. I want to play You Can't Even with Han. And yeah, we'll see you next week. Thanks for tuning in. And Laura, take us out.
Hey everybody, thanks for staying till the end of the episode. Remember to like, share, subscribe. Follow us on Facebook at Board Barista Productions. And if you want to support us, Patreon link at the bottom.